What's up, everyone? Welcome to episode 59. This will be the last episode where we discuss last weekend's World Team Trials. Today we're going to talk a little bit of Greco, a little bit of women's, and a lot of junior freestyle. Which, Matt, in my opinion, I enjoy the junior freestyle because that's kind of a look into the future. So I always like watching those guys and seeing how they're going to... I mean, a lot of their success, if they're good at junior freestyle, there are a lot of times they're going to have a good season next year in college, correct? Yes, and I think what you see a lot of times in the junior bracket, like you see the young guys that are still in high school that have a high level freestyle proficiency, and then you see those guys that once they get placed in the right D1 program, they make a huge leap, and they're like, "Where'd this guy come from? I knew he was good. I knew he was in the rankings, but you see him make a junior world team, and to your point, it gets you excited not only the prospect of their freestyle future, but also a preview to next season's folk style season and what could be, right? Yeah, no, absolutely. Because we saw that, like, case in point. I think it's a great indicator. Mekhi Lewis, you took the words right out of my mouth. Yeah, stole it from you. Yeah. Okay, the one Greco thing. Listen, I'll be point blank. I'm not a gigantic Greco fan. I follow a little bit. The one thing I was so impressed with, Cohlton Schultz, still only a high school kid, beats Olympian Robbie Smith to make the final against Adam Kuhn. I mean, Matt, especially in heavyweight, I feel like that's like an old man's weight class, and he does it as a high school kid. That is just so impressive. I mean, hugely impressive, because we talk about the transition from junior freestyle to senior freestyle, but I think the jump from junior Greco to senior Greco, that's even night and day. It's even more of a separation. Because if you're a big guy that's somewhat proficient in Greco, you can go out and place in Fargo fairly easy. I don't want to diminish the sport, but that's a far stretch from saying, well, I won a Fargo title to making final X. I beat an Olympian in high school. Beating an Olympian. Yeah. I mean, holy crap, that is crazy to me that he beat an Olympian in high school. I knew he was good. I knew he had success at the junior level, but to have success at the senior level in high school is, that's so impressive. And this, Matt, this is going to be a fun heavyweight division to watch. You know, in the juniors, I know we're probably going to talk about Mason Paris and Trent Hilger. Both had huge success as freshmen. We talked about how good Gable looked. We talked for a long time about that. We got Daniel Kirklevitt coming up, who had an injury, so we haven't really seen him this year. Zach Elam won a junior world silver medal. And then you got Cohlton Schultz. I mean, heavyweight is going to be a blast to watch in the next handful of years. So much fun. So much fun. And it's... I really would like to see Cohlton Schultz wrestle a little bit of freestyle and see how he mixes in with these guys, because we haven't seen him wrestle any of these top guys. We've seen him dominate the I don't want to say the local level, but the high school level, and then we've seen him do great at the senior level Greco and junior level Greco, but we haven't seen him against Kirklevitt or Schultz or Stevenson or Hilger or Paris. We haven't seen these matches, so I'm really interested to see how he pans out against those guys. And I'm aware of Cohlton Schultz, who he is and his credentials. I haven't really watched him a lot. I mean, you may have more of an insight, more of a window into his wrestling style. Do you think he's going to compete with these guys, or is he going to become more of a specialist, like he kind of appears to be a specialist in Greco right now? Well, obviously he committed to go to Arizona State, so he has an interest in wrestling, college level folk style wrestling. And then you see someone like Adam Kuhn, didn't necessarily train Greco, Matt. Yet he had the most success of anyone on the Greco team last year, coming right out of college, going into that competition. Not just last year, for years. He was our first world medal in years, right? No, you're totally correct. First world medal in years. Not even training Greco. I mean, he was at a college program, but he knows what he's doing upper body. He understands it. And so, can Cohlton Schultz do the exact same thing? I don't see why not. Sure he can. Yeah, I mean, it's because Robbie Smith, up until last year, had a lockdown at heavyweight for a number of years, right? Yeah. A good four or five. I was saying like 5, 6 from because he took over for Jamil Byers, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
And Jamil had an extended run in the late 2000s, early 2010s. And then Robbie took over, and it looked like the mantle was passed, and that, for all intents and purposes, after Kuhn got a silver medal right out of the gates, you're thinking, well, this is probably our guy. This is probably our guy for the extended future.
Yes.
In Greco. But now we've got an 18-year-old kid coming up through high school. Our second 18-year-old at heavyweight.
Well, I'm not educated enough to tell you if Cohlton Schultz can go with Adam Kuhn. I can't tell you that answer. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
Isn't that crazy though to think about? We have two 18-year-olds.
Yes. Yeah, that's insane.
In Final X finals at heavyweight.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That's totally crazy. So let's get into the junior freestyle. Man, there's so many matches because in the men's senior freestyle we broke it up into the final 2 out of 3s, and then the mini tournaments. And so Matt, I think unless we want to make this insanely long, we're gonna kind of have to, I don't want to say glance over some stuff, but that's kind of what we're gonna have to do.
I think for the most part, unless, and you're much more up to speed with the junior and the cadets. I'm not as much. I'm familiar with a lot of these guys, but outside the top 2 or 3, my body of knowledge kind of goes down, and I can admit that. But with starting off at 57, starts off with
I
bang,
think the story
right?
here is Vitali Arujau wrestled the Senior Open, did pretty well, even had a 6-0 lead on Dayton Fix, drops down, very dominant in the juniors tournament. Michael Colaiocco, I believe, and I don't know how to pronounce his name. I think that's how you pronounce his name. He's a Blair kid. He kind of impressed me in making the finals. He was a 7 seed. He beat Kyle Biscaglia. He beat Julian Tag, Kyle Biscaglia, Eric Barnett all in a row to make the finals against Vito. Gets beat, and then the best 2 out of 3 is Vito versus Malik Heinselman, and Vito was very, very, very dominant in those matches.
Against a guy, and with Heinzelman, he's made several age group teams before, correct?
Yes.
Down a weight, I get it, but
them.
he jumped in the lineup. He got pulled midway through the year at Ohio State. He's got the freestyle credentials, but Vito looked dominant here. Dominant. And I know the previous episode we talked about other guys that may be going down from 61. How about this guy jumping up from juniors? He showed he can compete at the U.S. Open, decided, I think rightfully so, made a good choice to go down to the junior division, made the world team. He's a guy going into next year. What are your thoughts about him going into next year? Does he have a shot to make some noise?
College season or senior level?
Well, definitely in college he showed, but at the senior level.
He's really good, Matt, but then like we talked about earlier, can he compete with Gilman? Probably not. Fix? Probably not. And then our Spencer Lee, Nick Soriano going to bump in there because I don't think he can compete with those guys. So, he's really, 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 really high-level guy.
But I know, but we were talking about the jumps that Gable made from a year ago.
Maybe.
Look what he could do. I don't know. I'm just saying we'll see. I think he could.
I mean, would I be shocked if he won a junior world title this year? No, I'm not really that shocked at all. I could see him doing that. I think that's well within his grasp.
So that's not that big of a stretch. If he does, in fact, win a junior world title.
I guess I just hold those other guys in such high regard that I have a hard time seeing, as good as I think he is, I have a hard time seeing him beat any of those guys.
So it's more a testament to the depth at 57 or the anticipated depth at 57. I think that's
fair. Yeah.
Right? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, 61. I think the story of the mini tournament is as simple as Jamie Hernandez beat Roman Bravo Young. I think people's stock on Roman Bravo Young is dropping, Matt. He lost to Gabe Tag, a high school kid, in the finals of the U.S. Open. He loses 10-5 to Jamie Hernandez. Didn't look great doing it. He even got up 4-0 and then still lost 10-5. I think stock is dry, and man, that's when you look at Penn State's future and the way really the way Penn State's developed guys, and you see Roman Bravo Young not really developing. We talked about Mark Hall not really developing. That's a scary trend. I mean, Penn State's got to figure out how to get back to that.
Okay, I'll offer a counterpoint to what I think possibly. In everything you said could absolutely be correct, but with Roman Bravo Young's body type, he's more of a thoroughbred. Would you agree? He's got a thoroughbred's body type. He's not rugged. He's not big. He's not thick. And
I mean, he does a little bit of everything, but sure, I'll agree with that.
I mean, he got thrown into he's as a freshman for Penn State wrestling.
Yeah, but Roman was as blue chip gets.
Yeah, but I guess I'm getting long-winded. I would say maybe he doesn't have a lot left in the tank after a full year of competition in the Big Ten, going through the NCAA tournament, having the burden of being on the number one team in the country, going out to Vegas, turning around and going. I mean, maybe he just doesn't have much in the tank.
Well, Matt, I don't know. Hold on. I wasn't going to bring this up. I got big news. I wasn't going to bring this up, but you made me bring it up. Iowa just skipped the damn junior trials, and I heard that it was because, this is the rumor on the street, I heard it was because they didn't like the way that Jacob Warner wrestled after last year's, making the junior team last year. They skipped it altogether. Did you notice there was no Iowa guys in the field?
I did. So that's the reason why Warner looked the way he did, because he competed in freestyle. Right?
Well, I mean, listen, these are all rumors. I have not heard anything out of the Iowa program. I've heard no statements, but I mean, Cassiope was the damn champion of the U.S. Open. He didn't show up. Show up. Jacob Warner's still junior eligible. He didn't show up at anything. Nelson Brands took, third or fourth at the Open. He didn't show up. I mean, holy crap.
So, wait a second. We're talking about Warner. They're saying freestyle took away his offense, because typically it's the reverse of that. You actually score more points in freestyle than you typically do in folk style. And I know that was
you're forced to use your neutral position attacks, yes.
Right, and I know that was one of your frustrations with Warner this year. Is like, where does offense go? Where does offense go? They're saying that's the Junior World experience was to blame for it?
So listen, that's the rumor I heard. Like I said, I can't confirm that rumor, but that is the rumor that was expressed to me. Well, they didn't show up. You didn't see any of them. Anthony Cassiope, the damn U.S. Open champion, doesn't show up.
And maybe, what? Maybe this is what they're doing. We had that conversation with Penn State, the guys not wrestling last year. But the discussion there was maybe they're sitting out to really ramp up, make a big push through 2019 and 2020. And I think that's what we're seeing now. What if I was doing kind of a similar trend, but more with the mentality they're making a push to win the NCAA tournament? That they're holding these guys out to make a big push with the anticipation of some guys taking an Olympic red shirt.
I don't know that. No, they were trying to win it next year.
That's what I mean. I was not wrestling their guys
taking Olympic red shirt.
Right, other teams from other programs.
Other teams, like a Yanni and like a Jaden Ironman.
Right.
Those type of guys. Yes.
We're going to sit out of freestyle, put all our eggs into winning the NCAA tournament in 2020. I
mean, I just don't know how you can correlate not competing at the trials in May with winning a national title next March. That's 10 months away. I can't really see any correlation, man.
I mean, there has to be a rhyme or reason. What that rhyme and what that reason is, who knows?
Whether they think it and it's true is two different things.
Yeah, but I mean, it'd be one thing if one guy was missing, two guys was missing. All their young guys were removed from the junior. So there's got to be. So it's not an injury thing. It's
no. I mean, I've heard that they didn't want to compete because they thought it was hurting their chances for next year.
You know what? Wow.
What? Don't get mad. Don't get mad at me.
I'm not getting mad at you.
I'm just a messenger.
That just seems to me like a program searching for answers, right? They're desperate. They're desperate for an answer. of why they haven't won for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
Because they've always been, the Iowa program's always been fully invested in freestyle and developing their young guys.
Yeah, that was one of their huge selling points to people.
Wow.
I don't know what to tell you. Yeah, that's what I heard. Okay, 65 kg. Let's move on. 65 kg. I'm biased here. Obviously, Keegan O'Toole looks great in the main tournament. Beats Andrew Alirez, who's the number 1 seed. Beats Lucas Gervano 10-0, and comes up a little bit short against Yaya Thomas in the best 2 out of 3.
Ben, I know we were talking, and I'm starting to pay attention to this guy more because there's an association. This kid is good, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
O'Toole, Brian Smith has got another freak on his hands.
Yes, yeah.
This kid's a freak.
That's for sure. Yeah.
And absolutely. I really haven't watched him in folk style. I saw what he was doing in freestyle. Holy smoke. If he does,
he's good in folk style too, because he's great on top.
I believe
Cradles and tilts. Yeah.
I mean, he's a guy. We talked. He looks like he's going to continue to jump significant levels, not incremental, significant levels over a very short period of time.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I said, I might be biased, but I feel like that's coming also. I mean, he already made a huge jump. I mean, he took 5th at the cadet trials last year and then jumps to the finals of the juniors in 1 year. So, yeah, I mean, made a huge jump in the last 12 months, and hopefully we'll see a few more jumps. So this, I mean, you had a couple guys in the finals, but also him and Parker at 79.
Which is really cool. These guys are still high school guys. I was going to give credit to Northwestern that they had 2 champs, right? With Yaya
Northwestern
Thomas.
and Lucas Davison.
Yeah.
And I guess I was thinking of Ryan Deacon also, but that's senior level. Northwestern doing a good job in freestyle, man. They're putting guys on the teams.
Yeah. You know, they've got a good staff that has very high level experience on both sides of the aisle. A lot of high-level folk style credentials with Storniolo, you know, and Howe, and
well, now Brewer's gone.
Brewer's
Jimmy
gone.
Kennedy.
Jimmy Kennedy was on staff. He's going up from volunteer to the full-time staff. So all those guys, they've got good credentials on both sides of the aisles, and obviously that's, you know, they're showing how good of coaches they are. Not only are they getting good success on the folk style, but in freestyle too. Yeah,
absolutely. Okay, 70 kg. I think this might have been my most fun juniors bracket. And the story is Brayton Lee, plain and simple. He was getting killed by Ja'Cory Teamer, comes back and beats him. He was getting killed by Peyton Robb, comes back and beats him. He was getting killed by Sammy Sasso, comes back and beats him. I mean, I actually, Matt, I wasn't that as high on Brayton Lee as I was some of these other guys. And after this weekend, I believe my perspective has changed. Holy crap, he's good.
It's really good. Hey, maybe the key to victory, don't go up. Make him wrestle a close match the entire time, because you spot him. You spot him 8 points. It looks like where his wheelhouse is.
Well, that didn't work out so well for Sasso the second time, because the second time Sasso got up 1-0 and then lost 8-1. So maybe Sasso thought the same strategy as you, but it didn't go so well. Yeah, the first time Sasso was up 8-0. I mean, 2 points away from ending the match, and gets beat 11-8.
Yeah, I was with you about Brayton Lee. Like, I thought he was good. I mean, he looked like a freight. I mean, he looked just like a freight train this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it's really as simple as that. I mean, you know, I knew he was good, but I kind of held a few of these other guys in higher regard, and I feel like he totally proved me wrong. I feel like now, I mean, I honestly feel like the 3 here, Sasso, Teamer, and Lee, could compete for NCAA titles next year. And so now it's like, man, you got to almost put Brayton Lee at the top of the heap for competing for an NCAA title next year at 157 pounds.
No, I don't know. I mean, I don't know at the top of the heap. but I think he's in the discussion. Because when you look at Sammy Sasso, when I look at him, and I know he did good out at Fargo, I think of Sasso being much better in folk style. I look at Teamer, and again, Teamer's made a world team. He's got a lot of success, but I see he's got more upside in. Well, I shouldn't say that, but
he's good. Teamer's good
in both, yeah, but even more so, I think, in folk style as well. When his funk and his defensive acumen and he's so difficult to get scored on, and he's got the ability to, in folk style, to roll across his back, which it's kind of taken away from him in freestyle. But yeah, definitely. Yes. I mean, with these performances, some of these things, some of the people that might have overlooked Brayton Lee, they better not be overlooking him now.
Yeah, he's good. He's legit good. Okay, anything else in that way? I mean, those matches are all really fun to watch. If you want to watch, the most fun matches you can watch, go watch the Brayton Lee matches from 70 kg last weekend. They were all very, very wild.
No, and keep talking about him a little bit more, because it's not like he had some trick that was digging him out of these holes. Or some.
No, he just wrestles hard. He wrestles hard as shit. That's his trick.
Yeah. Very simple, right?
I mean, sometimes the best tricks are simple. I'm just going to keep coming at you till you get exhausted. And, honestly, usually that tactic works a lot better in folk style than in freestyle, because you don't give up nearly as many points. I mean, in folk style, if you get taken out 4 times, you're losing 8-3 or 8-4 because you got an escape, right? In freestyle, you're losing 8-0. And so, yeah, usually that tactic works a little better in folk style, but he made it work in freestyle. And that's a tactic that you can't trick it back. You have to be in that good of shape, otherwise you're just going to get exhausted, and he's going to beat you. And so that's one of the best tricks you can have, is being able to wrestle hard, really, really, really hard for 7 minutes or 6 minutes or however long the match takes.
No, for sure.
Okay, 74 kg. David Carr makes a team, but I think the story, another guy who I would say, and Matt, I watch quite a bit of high school wrestling because I got guys competing there, and I go to most of the big tournaments, but I don't know everybody, and I'll tell you, I didn't really know this guy when he was in high school, but Shane Griffith is really, really, really good. He lost close to Carr in both the finals, but man, did he look good in the mini tournament. He tech falls in the quarters, in the semis, and in the finals to make it in against David Carr. So I mean, I know this guy didn't make the team, but holy crap, I'm really, really impressed with Shane Griffith. Obviously, we knew how good David Carr was, and I think he's definitely a threat to medal at the World Championships. Yeah,
I mean, you would think so. I mean, Carr does. I mean, not only his own personal experience, but his family's experience and the situation, the opportunities he's had. He's the obvious guy looking at this weight class. But yeah, I wasn't real familiar with Griffith myself, but he made it look easy. He made it look easy.
He's really good. And I think he's like a non-freestyle type guy too. So I'm looking forward to see what he can do next year at Stanford. And then Stanford's also got Real Woods. So they got a few really good young guys that are going to pop in their lineup next year.
A number of guys.
Okay, 79 kg. Another one of my guys, Parker Keckeisen, makes the finals, but comes up quite a bit short against Aaron Brooks. And so I guess it's more of, damn, Aaron Brooks is good, huh?
Yeah, I mean, that's
Aaron Brooks is really good.
Light on your guys. I mean, Aaron Brooks, I think he could compete with the senior guys.
How do you think he could do at the senior level?
I think he
can't compete with Mark Hall, can he? What do you think?
The Mark Hall that we've been seeing of late?
The Mark Hall this weekend, yeah.
I think so.
Whoa. Well, that's high praise there.
No, because wouldn't you say, honestly, Ben, when you're talking about Mark Hall, from a folk style standpoint and a freestyle standpoint?
You know what I have a hard time with, Matt? I have a hard time with not seeing it and then saying it can't happen or it's going to happen. Like, Aaron Brooks, when we saw him compete at Midlands, obviously, now he competed at Midlands and he was just training for folk style. I'm sorry, he was just taking freestyle, and he went and wrestled folk style. So I get the issue there, but until I see him beat someone who's on that high level, whether it's a Miles Amin or a Daniel Lewis or a Mark Hall or someone who's on that level, that tier, I have a hard time saying, oh, he's going to go do it. And maybe that's an issue with myself and not with, maybe that's something I should be more open to.
All right, so maybe we need to clarify the conversation. Are we talking about Aaron Brooks in freestyle or Aaron Brooks in folk style?
Yeah, freestyle, obviously.
Oh, I think he can definitely compete with these guys. He's a world finalist at the junior level, and it looks like he's in a position to potentially win not another medal, but a gold medal this year. And so, why would that be that big of a stretch to say that he could compete with the senior level guys? Because he's physically mature. He did
win a silver medal last year, huh?
Yeah, and he spent an entire year at the training center, and look what it's done for Gabe Tagg. Look where he's jumped.
I mean, Gabe Tagg got killed by Keegan in the finals last year. Gabe Tagg jumped about 14 levels.
Right.
He got way better.
Yeah. So if Brooks gets even incrementally better, where Tagg got levels better.
Levels better.
If he just got incrementally better, because physically I think Brooks can go with these guys. He looks very, very mature. And from a technical standpoint and the opportunities that he's been exposed to internationally now, for sure I think he can compete with these guys next year. I'm not saying he's going to beat them.
No,
I'm not going to make any crazy statements.
You're saying it's going to be a competitive match.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. You know what? That's fair. I agree with you.
Similar like Arujau. I don't think Arujau is going to beat those guys, but I think he could compete with them.
Do you think that Aaron Brooks is one of our most likely chances at a junior world medal?
Yes, hands down.
Yeah. Okay. I agree. I think he's. I might almost put him at number 1, Matt. Honestly.
I mean,
is there anyone you rank above him?
No, who would you put above him?
No, he's number 1. Nobody. He's number 1.
Because Vito was bronze medal last year?
Yeah, Vito's got a good chance. I think a lot of these guys have a good chance, but have they done it before? I'd probably put him at number 1. David Carr I think goes up there pretty high for me on this team.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, let's go 86 kg. Vic Marcelli, a guy I know a lot of my guys have wrestled him. I was not that high on Vic Marcelli, but man, he had a great tournament from the 4 seed. Tech Falls first round, beats Zach Braunagel, who was the number 1 seed, beats Jack Jesset, and then makes the finals. Makes the 2 out of 3 against Trent Hidlay, which Trent Hidlay is really good. Didn't go so well for him. Me and you talked about how good Trent Hidlay was at this weight class after the U.S. Open, and he comes out, looks really, really, really good again.
Yeah, very. Just physically, he's a brute, and he's got a high level of proficiency in freestyle as well. So, yeah, Marcelli.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have more. Do you have anything? I don't really have anything else.
I got nothing else. Some of these, like the next weight class, for example, 92. There was only 5 guys in the mini tournament. I don't know why it wasn't more well attended. So kind of small-ish brackets. And speaking of that, let's just go into 92. 5-man bracket. Brandon Whitman wins the mini tournament, and then Lucas Davison handles him in the best 2 out of 3. Kind of shuts him out both matches. Not really competitive. Lucas Davison, another guy that I don't want to say he wasn't good in high school, Matt, but he wasn't thought of on the blue chip level that some of these other guys are thought of, and he looks great. I could see a world medal out of him for sure, no doubt in my mind.
Now, is there any concern from you as far as, is Davison this good, or is there a lack of depth? I know the numbers weren't high at this weight class. There's only 5 guys in it, but does it speak to a lack of depth, or just?
I would have to. You know what? I would have to look and see. I don't know everyone's birth. I don't know everyone's birth years memorized. I know Jacob Warner, for example, is still a junior age, but he would be 97, not 92. So I don't know who is junior eligible that didn't show up. Does that make sense?
Yep. You would know better than me. I definitely wouldn't know.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at their college grade, you don't always know. I mean, you can guess within. You're either done with juniors as a first year college student if you're older, or a second year college student if you're younger. And so I don't know where everyone falls. So I mean, like I said, Lucas Davidson looked awesome. I mean, kind of crushed everyone, and so maybe. I don't know who didn't show up. I know Jacob Warner was at 97, didn't show up. But, hey, the guy who won 97, Tanner Sloan, hammered Jake Warner at Midlands. So, I know it's folk style versus freestyle, but maybe Jacob Warner doesn't make the team.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? Or am I talking crazy?
No, I think there's a very good possibility.
So, Tanner Sloan dominates the mini tournament over Jake Boyd, who was Oklahoma starter this year, and Kyle Leitner, who's a Rutgers guy. And Matt, I didn't know Sam Schuyler, but Tanner Sloan, he's a Buffalo guy. He won the US Open. Tanner Sloan beats him 2 matches in a row to make the team at 97 kg. I never seen this guy wrestle freestyle. I never seen him before Midlands. I have no prospectus on what his success level will be at the World Championships. Literally 0.
No clue. But the one thing our national team staff has done, has shown, and they've proven over the course of the last several years, like they've got a very good system in place to prepare these guys to be ready to be successful and get medals at the World Championships. They've done that repeatedly. We've got a sample size, and so it looks like the national team staff has a very good idea about what it's going to take to get these guys not only ready, but ready to compete for medals, across the board going into the Junior World Championships. Yes,
agreed 100%. Last weight, which I think this, actually now when I think about it, Matt, I think whoever won this was going to have a good chance at a world level medal. So it's a small bracket, and because Cassiope didn't show up, the winner, the finals of the mini tournament was actually the best 2 out of 3. That's Trent Hilger, Mason Paris. Their first match, Hilger wins 7-6. And I coached Trent. I haven't got a chance to talk to him at length yet. I don't know what happened from the first match to the second match, Matt. The first match, Trent did such a great job of shutting down Mason Paris' dump, which is something he likes to get to a lot and go to a lot. In the first match, Trent just totally shuts it down. And in the second match, Mason Paris just finds it twice in the first minute. And that was kind of the story of the match. Kind of gets dominated. And then in the third match, it was just, I don't want to say flukish, but Hilger's trying kind of a wizard kickover type of thing, and slips out of his leg, and Paris hips him over to his back and ends it in 39 seconds. So that was pretty disappointing because after match 1, it's looking like, hey, Trent Hilger's going to get on the world team, and then Mason Paris gets out there and gets it done.
Again, this goes back to some of our previous conversations about how deep heavyweight's going to be in the next several years.
Oh my God! So what we didn't even bring up, and that we were talking about last time, Matt, is Cassiope, who didn't show up this weekend. He's pretty good.
I mean, he rolled. I mean, he rolled through Vegas, right?
Well, he killed Mason Paris at Fargo last year, but then obviously his college season wasn't quite as successful.
I want to say Cassiope won 4 or 5 open tournaments. I thought he had a really good.
But he didn't have a great. He didn't have a great Midlands. Remember, because there was all the hype because Willie Saylor picked him to win Midlands, and he didn't even place.
And then there was obviously the discussion with Stoll throughout the year. Should they pull Cassiope out? Would they be better off?
Yes.
Yeah. No, I remember. Yeah.
Well, I think that hype kind of died down a little bit when he was unsuccessful at. When he was unsuccessful at Midlands, because obviously he had the outstanding, like you said, I think you're right. I think he won 3 or 4 opens just right off the bat, and then the way he won Fargo, everyone was super hyped on him, and then his stock kind of went way down when he didn't place at Midlands.
Yeah, but he's a guy, and
another guy. Heavyweight's going to be so good.
So good.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, Matt. So that's the junior trials for you, Matt. We did 3 podcasts all on the junior trials this week. I'm sorry, not the junior trials, the World Team Trials weekend. I know we're keeping people holding their breath for the U.S. Open statistics report, so we're gonna do that We're going to do that next week. And then the week after that, we got the UWW cadets, we have the U23s, and then at some point we're going to do we got to find a freaking name for it. Our show
we do. I mean, I think it's going to be really good.
We're going to get a name, the Final X stuff.
It's going to be a podcast, but it's going to be a lot more interactive than it normally would. I guess that's what we've got built out. I think it could potentially really be cool, but the idea is really get an in-depth breakdown of Final X leading up to it, not just discussing it, but really breaking down the keys to success and what that could look like.
That's gonna be a blast. Okay, Matt, that was fun. We talked about a lot of wrestling this week, and we will catch you guys all next time.